Subscribe for Reddit's controversial opinions. The idea of not snitching is stupid and is what keeps communities stuck in a cycle of crime. I hate seeing this everywhere. So-called snitching being talked about like it's morally wrong when in reality it's the only way to get justice and keep people safe. People covering up for murders, corruption, abuse, etc., it's disgusting, yet claiming the police and authorities are slow to act when you want them to help you. SMH, edit, apparently you all need clarification. By communities I mean groups, be they socio-economic communities, political parties, police, etc. This is not targeted at one specific group. Communities rarely snitch on each other. This is how Harvey Weinstein raped women for decades. People only bitch about snitching, until something happens to them. Depends what you're snitching about. Snitching about a coworker leaving early / taking a longer lunch / being late? Shitty. Snitching about a crime? Not shitty, with some exceptions. I believe OP is talking about when a violent crime happens and the police try to interview potential witnesses but everyone didn't see nothing. If you see someone get shot and don't relay information to the police that would help catch the shooter, don't bitch next week when you get shot by someone who should have been locked up a long time ago but unfortunately there were no witnesses to any of their previous crimes. My experiences may differ from yours, but I grew up in a rough neighborhood. Snitches were explicitly criminals who reported other criminals. Regular civilians who reported crime were never targeted or called snitches for what they did, because they were not involved on crime, and were just doing what was expected of them. If a criminal, on the other hand, reported a fellow criminal to law enforcement, he/she was branded a snitch and an outcast because they used the laws they disregard against others who did the same. LMAO, so many tough guys here, stop pretending to be a mafioso, you don't have a code of silence. Crime, ain't it? The no snitching mentality came from the idea that if you were doing something illegal then you don't snitch on other doing illegal things, but somehow this was transferred into the mainstream conscious, mainly from gang/mafia movies and general acquaintance with someone who does illegal things. I agree 100%, but I also don't like PPL calling cops on stupid shit that isn't illegal. Like barbecue Karen and shit. I've always hated the snitching thing. This just makes people afraid to speak up. This comes from criminalization of consensual acts, things like gambling, prostitution, drugs, and alcohol prohibition. Despite the best intentions of the enforcers and the potential harm to the participants of those acts, the real danger comes from the enforcers. Nobody complains about those who hid Christians in Rome, or Jews in Germany when it was illegal to do so. The Underground Railroad in the US could have been ruined by snitches. If you are part of a consensual community who is threatened by enforcers, snitching is harmful and comparable to treason. TLDR, calling something a crime doesn't make it evil, and cops are not always good, so snitching is sometimes bad. There's this documentary about this black serial killer who killed women over a period of decades. He lived in a black community and killed black prostitutes. He was able to keep doing it for so long because no one, his neighbors or other prostitutes who saw him with the victims, would snitch on him. The only reason he was ever caught was because his son was arrested for an unrelated crime, and his DNA came back as a family match for the murderer. From that, the police were able to get a warrant to collect the father's DNA and make an arrest. The documentary makers were able to get the son in for an interview, and even though he never snitched, the community had shunned him because he was the reason his father was arrested. Edit, I guess it wasn't the entire community, but the son was a small-time criminal, and in the circles he ran in they considered him a snitch. Pretty fucked up. Dude killed at least a dozen women, but let's not get mad about that, let's be mad that his son inadvertently got him arrested. This is a very typical mentality here in Chicago. Turning someone in could result in you dying. Very sad cycle of no fathers, poverty, parental neglect due to too many children, and gangs, substitute family. We should be giving girls 15 to 23 a stipend not to get pregnant. Here's the thing, If you get caught buying drugs and you snitch on the dealer, fuck you, no reason to snitch there. If you know of a guy terrorizing the community, snitch away. If I give my friend a ride and he says let's go rob this bank, and I say yeah let's do it, he gets away and I get caught, I'm not snitching. If he gets in my car and says yo can you stop at the bank real quick and he robs it, now I'm facing accomplices charges or something, well then fuck you, I've got a family to feed. Long story short, I think context matters.